Well, look, I had you on. You were wonderful. I did get some feedback that I didn't set the stage enough. What I need to do right here, if you're listening, is have you, the listener, who are probably not a 49ers diehard, understand why this will be interesting to you. Generalize it is what I'm trying to do. Ground you in some sort of context as to who Grant is, what he represents, what he means, what it means about media, because we talk about sports media here. We talk about independent sports media here, and we've got something a little spicy as an entry point. Grant is a very successful YouTuber, gatecrasher, somebody who has pioneered the format of sports YouTube, and we'll get into that later as to how it happened because I have questions. That puts him perhaps in a bit of an adversarial position vis-a-vis traditional media, people who work for prestige publications like, oh, I don't know, my former employer, The Athletic, for instance. Right now, in the coverage of 49ers minicamp, there seems to be a beef, Grant, between you and 49ers beat reporter from The Athletic, one Dave Lombardi. I figured that's a good jumping off point to get into some of the issues we're talking about when we're discussing new media versus established media. So what's going on here? Why are you feuding with Lombardi?
It's interesting. I feel like the two of us have sort of left each other alone. Like we sort of go about our jobs in parallel universes and don't overlap very much. And when we see each other in person, we say, what's up? But I happened to notice this weekend, he put out a video talking about rookie minicamp. And it's very much, everyone's trying to set the narrative, who was good, who wasn't, who has the real story. And we're arguing about Ricky Pearsall, I guess, this year, because he was a first round pick. And he said that Ricky was great at this practice in which he caught no passes. And instead of saying why he was great, he just said that any other report saying anything else was not trusted and reputable, which I felt was like a obvious overt shot at me that I didn't deserve. So now I'm taking shots back. What are we talking about here? What about you, David?
It's I mean, it would be uncomfortable. If I was in your position and I was there in person in a situation like this, I would feel a little bit uncomfortable. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about those moments with Lombardi? Now that you're questioning each other's, do we want to call it integrity? Do we want to call it analysis? I mean, look, to really break it down, I feel like he is trying to convey that he is an official observer. He is serious. Mm-hmm. You are trying to convey that he is basically bought and sold team media, state media, and that it's all pom-poms all the time for the 49ers. This is the dynamic right now. Maybe I don't care. Maybe I don't care, actually, now that I think about it, whether you two are cool. I think this dynamic is more interesting than that. You know, is that what's going on? Is that a correct interpretation?
Absolutely. And I never felt like I needed to express publicly how I felt about his style of journalism, because whatever, like, do how you want to do. Like, you have a job with The Athletic, go make money and provide for your family. I don't care. It doesn't take away from me. But as soon as you start telling people, don't watch me, I'm not reputable, it's like, okay, well, let's talk about trusted and reputable. Like, if everything the Niners do is good, and not just good, the way he describes it's like, it's genius. It's groundbreaking. They're the first people that have ever done any of this. It's amazing. And only he can really describe through very big words and advanced statistics just how forward and ahead of everyone else the 49ers are. That's not realistic. It's not even realistic. So when we're talking about what happened in a practice and one person says someone was great, how can you trust that when everyone's great all the time in his world?
Yeah, this was my issue actually when Pat McAfee did this big praising of Brock Purdy and it went viral. And he was saying something like, if he walked on water, people would question whether he could swim, something to that effect. And my feeling on it, and I have been very positive on Brock Purdy relative to the media consensus, but my feeling on it was that it means nothing to me. It means absolutely nothing to me, because anytime you watch the Pat McAfee show, everybody is great. He likes having athletes on, and I think the athletes respond to that. And I think there's an audience for that. I think there's an audience for more positive coverage. With Lombardi, I've never met him. I don't have any particular issue, but yeah, I have noticed that it is very positive. But here's what's interesting to me, Grant. He's crushing on YouTube. He's doing very well. So I guess there's a big audience for both. There's a big audience for what he's doing and for your more critical coverage. Is that the interpretation right here, that a lot of people, these are just different flavors people like? To stop monologuing, I would say, I know Niners fans. I have a friend who's a serious journalist, is a big Niners fan. He watches all this stuff, and he'll do both. He'll sample both things at the buffet. And when he's feeling bad about the Niners, he'll send me some Lombardi tweet and go, "Oh, this feels good. This feels good right here. This is soothing." So what do you make of the attention economy when it comes to the Niners and these sorts of tones that are different?
Well, I think it's interesting. Like, you mentioned the difference between like new media and old media, and used him as like an example of old media because he works at The Athletic. But I mean, he was smart enough to look at what I was doing and say, wow, that works. And Grant has a very particular take on this team that rubs a lot of Niner fans the wrong way. So I can copy his format and just have the exact opposite opinion on a whole lot of things. Just be the more traditional local, the Niners are doing great style, and do really well, because there's at least 50% of the fan base that wants that. So, I mean, he was smart enough to figure that out. He did go to Stanford.
That is very savvy, and that is smart.
Someone's going to figure it out eventually.
Yeah, you're this rabble rouser. You have found this independent stake in things on YouTube. You've monetized it very successfully. There is something smart about doing what you're doing, but having the gloss of officialdom to it, and doing it differently in a way that the team maybe likes a bit more.